please, I didn't do anything.
Ma'am, calm down. We have to do this. It's protocol. Please, get in the car.
No! I had this badge the entire time.
Why didn't you show it?
I wanted to see if you'd treat me like a human being first.
They walked in with badges and power. They walked out with consequences because no one is above the law, not even the ones who wear it. She survived the humiliation, she changed the law, and she named her daughter Ada because the fight was worth it.
Cops mocked the pregnant woman they arrested, then discovered she was the one who signs their paychecks. Or she was bent over a police car, pregnant and humiliated. Then one phone call changed everything. The morning sun was already brutal over downtown Sacramento when Officer Derek Holt spotted the woman. She was leaning against the hood of a silver sedan parked in a restricted zone near the federal courthouse. A blonde woman in a tan blazer, visibly pregnant. One hand pressed to her lower back like she was trying to hold herself together. Derek nudged his partner, Officer Luis Vega, and smirked. Another rich suburb mom thinking the rules don't apply to her. Luis chuckled. Let's remind her they do. They approached with that particular kind of swagger that some officers wear when they've already decided what kind of person they're looking at. The woman looked up when she heard the boots on the asphalt. Her face was pale and flushed at the same time, the kind of look that came from pain, not fear. Ma'am, you're in a restricted zone, Derek said flatly. This area is for authorized government vehicles only. You need to move. I know, she said, her voice tight. I'm sorry, I had a contraction. I pulled over. I wasn't sure if I should keep driving. Luis crossed his arms. A contraction. He said it like it was an excuse he'd heard 1,000 times. Yes, I have a high-risk pregnancy. My doctor told me that if I feel pressure or pain while driving, I need to stop immediately. Derek looked at her car. Clean, expensive but not flashy. No government plates, no special permits. License and registration, he said. She straightened up slowly and reached into her blazer pocket, pulling out her wallet. Her hands were shaking. Not from nerves, Derek assumed, but he didn't bother to ask. She handed him her driver's license. He glanced at it. Claire Whitmore. The name didn't mean anything to him. Ms. Whitmore, I'm going to need you to step to the rear of the vehicle. I'm sorry? Step to the rear of the vehicle, Derek repeated. You're blocking a restricted zone. We need to conduct a standard check. Claire blinked. I told you, I'm having contractions. I pulled over for my safety and the safety of my baby. Surely you can, ma'am. Luis stepped closer. His voice dropped to something that wasn't quite threatening, but wasn't quite professional either. We don't make exceptions. Not for anyone. You either cooperate or we escalate this. Your choice. The word escalate hung in the air. Claire closed her eyes for 1 second. Then she walked to the rear of her car. What happened next was caught on a passing driver's dashcam, uploaded that same evening and watched by over 4 million people within 48 hours. Derek stood behind her, one hand on her back, guiding her forward to lean over the trunk of her sedan. Claire winced as the metal edge pressed against her swollen belly. She placed both palms flat on the car to support herself. Luis radioed in her plates while Derek began what was described, generously, as a pat check. You carrying anything I should know about? Derek asked. My dignity, Claire said quietly. Though apparently that's not enough to get through a Thursday morning in Sacramento. Derek didn't laugh. You think this is funny? No, she said. I think this is wrong. The dashcam footage doesn't capture everything that was said in the next 3 minutes. But it captures Luis Vega's face when the radio crackled back with Claire Whitmore's information. The color drained out of him like someone pulled a plug. He walked quickly to Derek and lowered his voice to a hiss. Derek, stop. I'm in the middle of... Stop right now. Luis grabbed his arm. Do you know who she is? Derek looked at him. Some lady who... She's the deputy director of the California Office of Law Enforcement Oversight. Luis's jaw was tight. She directly oversees civilian complaint investigations for every police department in this state, including ours. The silence between them lasted exactly 2 seconds. Derek turned slowly toward Claire, who had pushed herself upright and was watching them both with quiet, steady eyes. Not angry eyes, not triumphant eyes, just tired eyes, the kind that had seen too much and had long since stopped being surprised by it. Ms. Whitmore, Derek started. Don't. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. Please don't apologize to me now because of what Luis just told you. I don't want that apology. I didn't want to be apologized to for being inconvenient. I wanted to not be treated this way in the first place. She reached into her blazer again and pulled out her government ID badge. the one she'd had in her pocket the entire time, and held it up briefly before putting it away. "I didn't show this to you because I shouldn't have to. A pregnant woman in pain pulled over on a public road. That should have been enough." She paused, but it wasn't. A small crowd had gathered on the sidewalk. A woman with a stroller, 2 men in construction gear, a teenager with a phone raised recording. Claire Whitmore walked back to the driver's side of her car, moving carefully, one hand still on her lower back. Do you need medical?" Derek began. "I've called my OB," she said. "I'll be fine." She opened the car door, then paused and looked back at them one more time. "I've reviewed over 3,000 civilian complaints in this state. I know exactly what happened here today, and so do you." She got in the car. She drove away. The dashcam video was uploaded by a user named Sacramento Driver Mike at 6:42 p.m. that evening. By midnight, it had been shared across every major platform. By the next morning, it was on CNN, ABC News, and the front page of the Sacramento Bee. The headline that stuck was simple: she had the power to end their careers. She just asked to pull over safely. Derek Holt and Luis Vega were placed on administrative leave pending a full internal review. A review that, under California law, would ultimately be overseen by the very office Claire Whitmore worked for. Neither officer made any public statement. Claire did, exactly one, posted to her personal X account at 9 p.m. the night of the incident, after she'd been seen by her doctor and confirmed that she and the baby were safe. "Today I was treated as less than. Not because of anything I did, but because of how I looked to 2 officers who had already decided what kind of person I was before they reached my car. I am lucky. I had a badge in my pocket. I had a title behind my name, but I have spent years reading the complaints of people who had nothing in their pockets but their humanity, and who deserved exactly the same dignity I deserve today. This is why the work matters. This is why oversight matters. I'm okay. My daughter is okay. And tomorrow, I'm going back to work." The post received 1 million likes. What most people didn't know, what didn't come out until a longer profile piece ran in the Los Angeles Times 3 weeks later, was that Claire Whitmore had not always sat on the oversight side of that badge. She had grown up in Fresno, the daughter of a single mother who worked 2 jobs. She'd put herself through UC Davis on loans and a scholarship. She'd spent 4 years as a public defender before pivoting to policy work, driven by a single case. A 22-year-old named Marcus Webb, who had been stopped, searched, and arrested for a crime he didn't commit, based on nothing more than the assumption that he didn't belong in the neighborhood where he was walking. Marcus had spent 11 months in county jail before the charges were dropped. Claire had represented him. She'd won. But the win hadn't felt like enough, not when Marcus walked out of that courthouse thinner, quieter, and already flinching at the sound of sirens. She'd spent the next decade building systems designed to make sure what happened to Marcus happened less often. She'd written policies, she'd trained officers, she'd sat across tables from union reps, chiefs, mayors, and told them, calmly and without flinching, what the data said. And on a Thursday morning in Sacramento, leaning over the trunk of her car, 8 months pregnant and in pain, she had felt, for just a few minutes, what Marcus had felt, what so many others had felt. She said in the Times interview that she didn't think of herself as a hero for staying calm. "I stayed calm because I knew I had options," she said. "The tragedy isn't my story, the tragedy is how many people don't." Her daughter was born 6 days after the incident. She named her Ada. At the hospital, a card arrived from an address in Fresno. Inside, in handwriting she recognized immediately, were 5 words: "Welcome, Ada. We needed you." It was signed Marcus. Officer Derek Holt resigned during the internal review process. Officer Luis Vega completed a mandatory retraining program and returned to duty with a formal reprimand on his record. 3 months after the incident, the Sacramento City Council passed an amendment to its public conduct guidelines for officers, informally called the Whitmore Standard, requiring that any civilian who communicates a medical reason for stopping in a restricted zone must be offered assistance before enforcement action is taken. Claire Whitmore was back at her desk 9 weeks after Ada was born. She still drives the same silver sedan. She still pulls over when she needs to. And she still believes, with the particular stubbornness of someone who has seen both sides of the badge, that dignity is not something that should have to be earned. It should simply be the place where every interaction begins. The end. Share this story if you believe everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, no matter who they are.